Hi guys, in this lecture you will be learning how to handle the exception and the file reading. I am gonna teach you the file reading and the exception both in this lecture. Why? Because they are related, so you can understand the exception betterly with the file handling. And now I'm gonna create a file in my Java project. To read that file, here is this is the project file, and here I'm gonna create a simple text document. Its name is test, and here I'm gonna write a simple text, and here is my signature Fahad. Let's read it and close it. And first of all, what we need to do in the main, first of all we need to declare the object of type file and give it the name of the file. First of all, write the file, and its object is fr, and now new file, and then here is the parentheses, and in between these parentheses we need to write the name of the file, that is test, and this extension is txt, test.txt. So now here you can see that it gives an error. What type of an error? It can say that import the java file.io, and now this is the file object is ready, and now we need to create a file reader object. The file reader object read the file. Here is the file reader, and fr, here I'm gonna change this and write it fl, and it's fr, file reader, and then new, and then file, and file reader, and here is the parentheses. And now in between these parentheses we need to pass the file object, that is fl. Here I'm gonna pass the fl. So now this is the file reader, it can read the file with the words. And now here I want to tell you another thing. Here is an error. So what is this error? It can say that import java.io.file reader. So now here you can see that there is a error. So it can say that add throws declaration and surrounded with try catch. Here I want to tell you something about the exception. So what is the exception? The exception is the error when you can divide any number with the zero, so it can create the infinity, it can create the exception. If you have create an array of size 10, and you can try to access the index of 15, so it can create the exception. Exception is just an error. So now I'm gonna teach you how to handle the exception. Exception is just an error. So there are two types of exception. First is a checked exception, and the second one is unchecked exception. I'm gonna discuss the checked exception, and later I will discuss the unchecked exception. In the checked exception, you must need to handle the exception. So here this is the check the exception. So what is the exception at this point? Here it gives an exception if the file is not read or if the file is not found. So here it can says that you need to add throws declaration. So when we click on it, so here you can see that in the main function it adds the simple text throws file not found exception. So this is the file not found exception. This throws can handle the file not found exception. So here let's execute it. So the file is found. Here I'm gonna change the name of the file, and let's check it. So here you can see that I have changed the file name test2, so it throws the exception in the output. So what is the exception in thread? Exception name is file not found exception, and you can see that the error is on the 11th line. So when I click on it, so this is the line where the error is. Now I will say that you can understand the exception. What is the exception? So the throws is just used to throw the exception on the screen if it occurs. I'm not gonna use this throw. This throw is not so best. So now I'm gonna tell you about another method that is used to handle the exception, and that is try catch. So click on it. So here is the second option is try catch. So click on it. So what is the try catch? So here you can see that this try catch add the try statement around the file reader, and it also add here the some text in the catch. I'm gonna clear it. Here is the catch. First of all, the computer try to run this code. If this code gives an error, so it gives an exception. The file not found exception is here, so this catch statement catch the exception and then print this exception. So now let's run it. So here you can see that I have changed the name of the file, so it print the exception on the screen. But here you can print any text. Here I'm gonna print exception is here. You can print the text in the catch. Here you can see that text is printed, and you can also print the exception on the screen. Here what you need to do, just write the E is the exception. Here you can see that its name is E, and let's run it, and here is the exception is printed. The system cannot find the file that is specified. So this is the try catch. At the first you can try the code. If the code is not successfully executed, so it throws an exception on the screen, and the catch statement catch the exception. So now here I want to tell you about its third part. First part is try, second part is catch, and the third part is finally. If all the code in the try is run, so this finally block will run. So here I'm gonna correct the name of the file. So now this program will run normally, and here in the finally I'm gonna write the print statement successfully and let's run it. So here you can see that when this try block code is run successfully, so it also run the finally block to shows the code is executing normally and you can perform the end operations. So now remove this statement, and now I'm gonna read the file. So this is the whole idea of the exception, and let's read the file. Here after the file reader you can read the file, but using the file reader you have to read the file character by character. That is not fair. It is too time consuming that you have to read the file character by character. So we can use the buffered reader. So buffered reader reads the file in the form of the bytes, so it can read the long text. Here I'm gonna write buffered buffered reader, and here is the buffered reader, and in between these parentheses you need to pass the file reader object. Here is the fr, and here I'm gonna import the buffered reader. Import it, buffered reader. So now here I'm gonna print the line using the string. Here I'm gonna string text. This is just a variable, and then now I'm gonna read the text from this bufferedReader dot line, and here is the br dot lines. Here we need to write the function of read line, so it can read the lines from the br, that is bufferedReader, and here it gives an error. What is the error? So now this line gives us an error. What type of error? It gives an other exception. I'm gonna separate the exception here, click on it and add catch clause. Here is the exception is added separately. Here is the IO exception. So there is two catch clause. Here is the second, and here you can see that, and here I'm going to remove this and I'm going to print the exception if the input output exception is occur on the screen. So now let's read the file. Here it's reading the file and I'm going to print it out. Here is the text. Let's execute it. And here you can see that it reads the file, but it have only read the one line because we have not provided it the necessary condition to read all the lines. Here I'm gonna provide it the while loop. Here is the while, and now here is the second bracket, and here is not equal null. In the while loop, I have provided the condition if the br.readLine read the line and save into the text, and it can compare with the null. If the text that is read from the file is not equal to the null, so it can print on the screen. So let's execute it. So here you can see that it read all the text. It just compare the text is equal to null or not. When the null is found in the file, so it gives a message the lines are completely read. So this is the way you can read the file. Here are the catch clause. This is the catch clause. Here are the exceptions are accepted. This is the input output exception, and here is the finally block, and you can read the file. But here I want to tell you another thing, that is you have to close the bufferedReader. Why we are closing the bufferedReader? The bufferedReader reading the files, we must need to close the bufferedReader when we completely read the file. Here is bufferedReader.close, and let's execute it. So always when the file is completely read, so it close the bufferedReader and then file reader. So this is the how we read the file, and this is how we are handling the file exception. This is the file. You can see the text, the same text is appear on the screen. Here you can see that here this is the text and this is also here. So I will see you in the next lecture, that is about the try with resources. So what is the try with resources? The try with resources is an easy lecture, that is the literally change in the try and the catch clause. So let's see in the next lecture. If you have any problems, so kindly add the discussion on Udemy. I will help you as much as I can. Thank you for watching this video.